When people think of the Go-Go's, they often think of a perfect storm of pure talent, led by lead singer Belinda Carlisle. It wasn't Go-Go's that created the opportunity for Belinda, but it was she who created the brand for this famous band. Around the time the Go-Go's broke up, Belinda once again demonstrated her abilities with a lucrative solo career, but it was marred by her intractable addictions. Stay and watch until the end of the video to see how Belinda's life was devastated by herself. Carlisle's story begins with her recollections of her family, particularly her mother and grandmother, who harbored ambitious dreams that, tragically, were never realized. Her mother's journey into adulthood was a tumultuous one. She met Harold Carlisle, a man nearly 2 decades her senior, while still in high school. Their relationship led to a hasty marriage following her graduation, and Belinda arrived in the world less than 9 months later. Looking back, her mother candidly admitted, "I was so stupid. He was a bum." The family expanded with the birth of 2 more children, a brother and a sister, within the next 4 years, leaving Belinda puzzled about why her mother would bring more children into a life that seemed so full of misery. The family's circumstances shifted when they moved to a neighborhood in Thousand Oaks, but life remained far from glamorous. Belinda described their existence as the low end of the working class, and they found themselves among the most economically disadvantaged families. Inside their home, tensions constantly simmered. Her father's volatile temper was a recurring source of anxiety, and her mother harbored deep-seated distrust towards him. These conflicts occasionally spilled over onto the children, leading to frightening and traumatic incidents. One such distressing episode that left an indelible mark on Belinda's memory involved a violent altercation between her parents. She vividly recounted being physically caught in the middle of their argument, with one parent tugging at her legs and the other at her arms. It was a harrowing experience that felt as though she might be torn apart. This traumatic incident left scars that stayed with her throughout her life, serving as a stark reminder of the tumultuous environment in which she grew up. Belinda Carlisle's memoir, as detailed by the New York Times and The Guardian, unveils a tumultuous chapter in her life that began with her father's job loss and the subsequent transformation of her family dynamics. After her father lost his job and ventured into the world of entrepreneurship with a carpet cleaning business, he was frequently absent from home. This absence left a void in the family, and during this time, Belinda's mother found companionship in a carpenter who lived across the street. This carpenter would eventually become her stepfather. However, the transition was far from smooth, as rumors swirled within their community, casting a shadow over Belinda's family. The consequences of her mother's new relationship spilled over into Belinda's social life. Friends were informed that they were no longer allowed to play with her, and she found herself ostracized due to her mother's perceived reputation. The gossip and judgment of others added another layer of complexity to her already challenging upbringing. Walt Kercheski, the carpenter who became her stepfather, entered their lives when Belinda was still a young girl. At the time, she was unaware of the demons that haunted him. As she later reflected, Walt had his own demons, but I didn't know about them then. This revelation suggests that her stepfather had his own personal struggles that played a significant role in their family dynamics. In the wake of her father's absence and the addition of a new stepfather, Belinda found herself thrust into a family of 7, with her stepfather at the helm. However, their household was far from stable. Her stepfather grappled with alcohol addiction, which only added to the turmoil within their home. Moreover, he believed in using physical punishment, creating an environment that was far from nurturing or safe. Belinda's memoir indicates that while her stepfather faced his own challenges, he eventually managed to overcome his alcohol addiction, and there were a lot of amends made. This suggests that there was some form of reconciliation and healing within the family as time went on. During her formative years, Belinda longed to rebel and escape the confines of a home that never felt secure. She was determined to prove her stepfather wrong and demonstrate that she could make something of herself. As a teenager, she engaged in acts of rebellion that included hitchhiking, running away, and even experimenting with drugs like acid. Belinda Carlisle's journey continued to evolve as she transitioned from her tumultuous upbringing to a new chapter in her life, marked by her move to Los Angeles at the age of 18. In Los Angeles, she became immersed in the city's thriving punk scene, a subculture known for its rebellious spirit and music that resonated with her. For several years, Carlisle lived in a punk commune that had been established within an abandoned building. This unique living situation was characterized by an atmosphere saturated with music, artistic expression, and camaraderie among like-minded individuals. However, it also came with its own set of challenges and temptations. As she recalled, it was all bands and music and drugs, of course. Carlisle's candidness extended to her struggles with substance abuse, which she openly discussed with hope to cope. She acknowledged that her drug use was a coping mechanism for the deep emotional pain she had carried since her childhood. The drugs provided a temporary escape from her inner turmoil, numbing the emotional wounds that had haunted her for years. Over time, as the years of hardcore drug use continued, she grew increasingly aware of the destructive nature of her behaviors. She realized the need to break free from the grip of addiction that had taken hold of her life. Despite her determination to stop using drugs, she found herself trapped in a relentless pattern of addiction, battling her own demons. Belinda Carlisle's honesty about her experiences is striking. She openly admitted that she had relied on drugs to make it through each day, even as she harbored self-loathing for her inability to quit. The drugs served as a means to dull the pain of depression that had plagued her for so long, further complicating her struggle. Her substance abuse reached a dangerous level, as she remarked to The Guardian. "I can't believe I'm not dead. I should actually look like the Phantom of the Opera with just 2 holes in the front of my face." This statement illustrates the severity of her addiction and the astonishing resilience that allowed her to survive such a perilous period in her life. The Go-Go's, one of the most iconic bands in the history of punk and new wave music, had a humble and unconventional start that is a testament to their raw talent and determination. Belinda Carlisle, the lead singer of the band, revealed that when they initially formed, they had absolutely no prior experience in music. To underscore the depth of their inexperience, she mentioned that their initial goal was simply to learn how to plug their guitars into amplifiers. Their musical journey began from what could only be described as absolute zero. Even by the standards of the punk music scene, known for its DIY ethos and raw, unpolished sound, the Go-Go's were remarkably unpolished in their early days. In fact, they were so inexperienced that people would attend their early performances, not necessarily for the music, but to have a good laugh at their expense. This underlines just how far they had to come from their humble beginnings to become the influential band they eventually became. While they initially launched their career in Hollywood, the Go-Go's soon embarked on a pivotal journey to England, which was considered the epicenter of the punk music movement at the time. However, their efforts to make a name for themselves in the UK were met with challenges. In 2020, Peter Lorraine, a one-time editor of Tops of the Pops magazine, reflected on the Go-Go's and questioned why they hadn't come to the UK more often to promote their music. He believed that they had the potential to make a significant impact on the British music scene. Belinda Carlisle's recollection of the Go-Go's tour in England with the ska band Madness sheds light on the challenges and adversity they faced during this pivotal phase of their career. The tour experience, as detailed in her memoir, offers a glimpse into the harsh realities they encountered while trying to establish themselves in the British music scene. During their time in England, the Go-Go's found themselves subjected to a practice known as gobbing. This was far more than just simple spitting. It was an act of spewing the most repulsive and unpleasant substances at the performers. To make matters worse, their performances were marred by constant heckling, catcalling, and requests for a completely different type of show. The atmosphere they encountered during these performances was, in Belinda Carlisle's words, horrible. She vividly described the emotional toll it took on them, recounting moments when she would come off stage crying and covered in the disgusting remnants of this degrading practice. The relentless abuse they endured was not only emotionally distressing, but also physically repulsive. Adding to the difficulty of the situation was the fact that the Go-Go's, a group of 5 young women from Southern California, were thrust into the midst of a hardcore punk and skinhead subculture that they were ill-prepared for. This placed them in a lonely and perilous position, far removed from their familiar surroundings. Belinda Carlisle's journey to sobriety and her reflections on her past experiences shed light on the profound changes she underwent as she emerged from years of addiction. When she spoke with the Sydney Morning Herald in 2007, she had not only conquered her addiction, but had also released her first album in a decade. During this interview, she offered candid insights into the impact of her addiction on her life and her role in the Go-Go's. One notable transformation she discussed was how her years of substance abuse had altered her voice. The toll of addiction had taken a physical toll on her vocal cords, which was a stark reminder of the damage she had inflicted upon herself. This demonstrated the very real and tangible consequences of her past behavior. Belinda Carlisle also openly acknowledged the rebellious and provocative nature of the Go-Go's during their heyday. She explained that their behavior was deliberately designed to shock and horrify, breaking gender norms and expectations at the time. Young women behaving as recklessly and boldly as they did were a rarity, and they reveled in challenging societal norms. Carlisle humorously noted that their intention was to have male groupies, but they often ended up scaring them away with their wild antics. However, the interview also revealed a darker side to their experiences. As the Go-Go's embarked on tours and their fame grew, the allure of drugs began to overshadow the fun of their early days. Carlisle recalled that parcels of drugs would be routinely delivered to their dressing rooms via FedEx, underscoring how deeply ingrained addiction had become in their lifestyle. A turning point in Carlisle's realization that something was terribly wrong came when she missed her flight to London 5 times consecutively. These repeated failures to meet professional commitments were a stark indicator of the extent to which addiction had taken over her life. Perhaps one of the most harrowing moments she recounted was her experience in Brazil while trying to procure cocaine. Directed to an apartment near Ipanema Beach, she found herself in a nightmarish scenario, a drug mill infested with firearms and a palpable sense of danger. The fact that she survived such perilous situations was nothing short of miraculous. Belinda Carlisle's battle with addiction spanned an astonishing 3 decades, a prolonged struggle that only culminated in her journey to sobriety in 2005. Her path to recovery was marked by a complex web of secrecy, denial, and the gradual realization of the need for change. During her years of addiction, not everyone in her life was aware of the extent of her struggles. Carlisle admitted that she didn't openly disclose her ongoing substance abuse issues to those around her. Instead, she employed what she referred to as lying through omission. This meant that while she didn't actively declare that she was still drinking and using drugs, she didn't correct the assumption that she had overcome her addiction either. This deceptive approach allowed her to maintain a facade of normalcy while continuing to grapple with her addiction in private. The decision to write her memoir was heavily influenced by the prolonged nature of her addiction and her ultimate triumph over it. She envisioned her book as an inspirational testament to the possibility of making transformative changes even later in life. She wanted to share her story as a source of hope for others who may be battling similar issues such as abuse, addiction, and self-sabotage. The turning point in her journey towards sobriety came during a particularly harrowing moment in 2005. Carlisle locked herself in a hotel room for a 3-day cocaine binge, a desperate act that underscored the depth of her addiction. It was during this tumultuous period that she experienced a profound vision, one that shook her to her core. As she gazed into the mirror and looked into her own eyes, she felt a chilling disconnect, a sense that she was no longer there. She described it as if the lights were out within her, and she had lost herself entirely. This deeply unsettling experience frightened her, but it wasn't enough to immediately halt her destructive behavior. The true turning point came when she had an extraordinarily frightening out-of-body experience. At this moment, she witnessed herself overdosing and being discovered lifeless in her hotel room. It was a stark and horrifying vision of her own death that served as a wake-up call, shattering the illusion that she could continue down this path without dire consequences. The ascent of the Go-Go's from musical novices to chart-topping sensations can indeed be described as meteoric, and Belinda Carlisle's journey from a place of inexperience to fame happened at an astonishing pace. In just 3 short years, they went from not even knowing how to plug in their guitars to dominating the music charts. However, this rapid rise to stardom left Carlisle with a profound and unsettling fear that would haunt her for years to come. As she reflected on her early years with the Go-Go's, Carlisle revealed that she carried a deep-seated fear of not being good enough. She dreaded the possibility that the audience would perceive her as a fraud or an imposter. This feeling of inadequacy and self-doubt was rooted in her teenage years, a time when she never truly felt comfortable in her own skin. The concept of imposter syndrome, which is characterized by severe self-doubt and the belief that one doesn't deserve success, resonated strongly with her. She acknowledged that her rapid rise to fame with the Go-Go's likely triggered this persistent sense of imposter syndrome. Her childhood memories played a significant role in perpetuating these feelings of unworthiness. Throughout her upbringing, she had been repeatedly told that she wasn't good enough. These negative messages took root within her, leading her to internalize the belief that she fell short of expectations. This deep-seated self-doubt became a part of her identity, shaping her perception of herself and her abilities. Even when the Go-Go's achieved the remarkable feat of having their album Beauty and the Beat reach #1 on the charts, Carlisle found it difficult to enjoy their success. Instead of relishing the moment, she was plagued by fear and anxiety. She was constantly worried that she would be exposed as a fraud and that the world would uncover her perceived inadequacies and shortcomings. Belinda Carlisle's candidness about her struggles with drug addiction is matched by her transparency regarding the underlying stresses and challenges that ultimately led her down that path. Her journey toward sobriety has been marked not only by a commitment to recovery, but also by a willingness to confront the root causes of her addiction. One significant factor that Carlisle openly discussed was the media's relentless scrutiny of her weight. In a 2018 interview with Deseret News, she revealed that the media's obsession with her body image pushed her toward cocaine use as a means of staying thin. The relentless pressure to conform to unrealistic beauty standards took a toll on her self-esteem and body image, driving her to harmful coping mechanisms. Further insights into her struggles were revealed when UC Health announced her speaking engagement about her life's challenges in Denver. They shared details from her memoir, including the painful memory of being taunted with the derogatory nickname Belimpa during her younger years. This early experience of being mocked for her appearance left a lasting impact, contributing to her vulnerability when it came to body image issues and self-worth. The challenges she faced in the aftermath of the Go-Go's breakup were also a critical part of her journey. As she embarked on her solo career, the spotlight on her only intensified, and the media scrutiny became even more judgmental. In her memoir, she recounted the pressures of rebranding herself as a pop star and the inevitable comparisons to artists like Madonna. These comparisons further exacerbated the addiction and eating disorders that were already present in her life. Carlisle emphasized that her struggles with body image and addiction were not rooted in personal dissatisfaction with her appearance. Rather, it was the external pressures and expectations imposed by the media and society that fueled her self-destructive behaviors. She emphasized that she had never had an issue with the way she looked or her weight. Instead, she was deemed voluptuous and normal by industry standards, which only intensified the scrutiny she faced. Belinda Carlisle has played a pivotal role in breaking down the stigma surrounding menopause by openly discussing her own experiences, as well as those of her mother. Her willingness to engage in conversations about this often overlooked phase of life has helped shed light on the significant physical and emotional challenges that women may face during menopause. In her discussion on the Hallmark Channel's Home and Family, Carlisle revealed her understanding of menopause through her mother's difficult experience. Her mother's battle with severe menopausal symptoms, particularly depression, left a lasting impact on her. She recalled moments when her mother's depression became so severe that there was talk of admitting her to a psychiatric ward. Although it didn't come to that, the uncertainty and fear surrounding her mother's condition were deeply unsettling for both of them. Carlisle vividly described how her mother's sudden agitation and overwhelming sadness led her to spend extended periods isolated in her room, crying. These memories highlighted the emotional toll that menopause can take on individuals and their loved ones. When it was Belinda Carlisle's turn to go through menopause, she encountered her own set of challenges. She shared that she experienced irritability and mood swings, which are common symptoms. However, what proved particularly challenging for her were the intense hot flashes. These hot flashes became so frequent and severe that she found herself carrying around a change of clothes, a practical strategy to manage the physical discomfort. Despite the difficulties she faced during menopause, Carlisle's determination and resilience shone through. She emphasized her commitment to carrying on with her life as normally as possible, acknowledging the importance of adapting to these changes and doing the best she could. Belinda Carlisle's relationship with her son, James Duke Mason, is a testament to the depth of their connection and the profound love they share. In her own words, she expressed immense pride in her son, describing him as nice, beautiful, and gay, a reflection of her unwavering support for him. Their relationship has not been without its challenges, but it is characterized by a strong bond and mutual admiration. Carlisle openly acknowledged one of her biggest regrets in life, which was not being present enough for her son during his upbringing. She candidly shared that her addiction and career commitments had often taken precedence, leaving her with the profound realization that she had missed out on precious moments of his childhood. The poignant moment when her son confessed that he had believed she lived at the airport during his early years deeply affected her. It served as a painful reminder of the times when she had been physically absent due to her career and personal struggles. In contrast to Belinda Carlisle's self-perceived shortcomings as a mother, her son, James Duke Mason, has expressed a different perspective. In a heartfelt Mother's Day letter published via HuffPost, he reassured his mother that he never felt her absence during his upbringing. He emphasized that he had always viewed her as an amazing mother and had no inkling of her struggles with substance abuse until she decided to open up to him about it after getting sober. This exchange between mother and son underscores the complexity of family dynamics and how different perspectives can coexist within a relationship. While Belinda Carlisle carried the burden of guilt over not being present enough for her son, James Duke Mason held a contrasting view, highlighting the positive aspects of their relationship and the love and support he received from his mother. What do you think about Belinda Carlisle's miserable life? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.